Okay, well, the United States has lost more than 6.5 million jobs since the recession began. Our next guest says President Obama should be doing more to get America back to work. He's Leo Hindery, the former CEO of companies including TCI, AT&T Broadband, and Global Crossing, and he is now managing partner at the private equity fund Intermedia Partners. And Mr. Hindery, great to have you with us. Really an honor to sit across from you. Now, I know you once advised President Obama. You're pretty close to some of those in the White House as well as on the Hill. Very surprising to me when I read your editorials, because quite critical of the Obama stimulus plan. You're saying that it's not going to lead us to full employment, yet we are seeing some signs of a turnaround.
You know, we use the phrase, Betty, green shoots. These are green shoots that they're never going to grow into redwood trees. I think the issue is that a lot of us believe increasingly that we're already in what's called a jobless recovery. This is an unprecedented form of recovery. There's been talk a lot this week about whether we're in a V or a U or a W.
You say we're in an L shape.
I think we're in an L shaped. And for 50 years, since the Second World War ended, we have purposefully in this country not counted an awful lot of the unemployed. Both parties are responsible for that. But this is an unprecedented number of women and men who are not counted. So when you lead with stories about the unemployment rate of roughly 10%, you should double that. There are 15 million women and men not counted who are quite effectively unemployed, in addition to the 15 who are officially counted. And what's going on is sometime next month, in September, we're going to declare, which we started to do this last couple of weeks, that the recovery is here, that it's coming back. And we do that simply because we measure GDP growth. But these 30 million women and men are going to argue very strongly otherwise. And a lot of the fight that's going on about health care, the growing apprehension about the cost of energy reform, a lot of that, Betty, comes from concern, angst about this jobless recovery.
Right, and you've seen the Obama administration focus on that very issue about health care. Are they wrong then? Are they on the wrong track?
Well, health care, we lost last evening a real icon in the Senate, in Senator Teddy Kennedy. And if he were with us today, he would say that you have to address the economy and the middle class at once. I mean, he was the great champion of health care reform, but it's going to be very expensive, Betty. And a lot of us are beginning to argue as well that these massive initiatives are going to be made much more affordable, much more palatable if we go back and address these jobs issues more aggressively.
Now, you say that we should be addressing jobs in manufacturing and also jobs that could be created by trade. But there's a report, for instance, in USA Today saying that the stimulus money is actually going further than expected. Costs have come down so much that, in fact, more jobs are being created by building roads and buildings and all of those other infrastructure projects. I mean, can't you give some credit, though, for some projects creating jobs?
You know, I think we're short by an awful lot on the infrastructure side. But many of these numbers, Betty, they're very misleading. Again, what the agenda has to be is to find near full employment for these 30 million people. That has to be the agenda. And nothing we've seen to date is going to assure that. It is going to assure that measured by the single measure of GDP growth, we're, quote, going to be back. But a jobless recovery is truly unprecedented. It is, in fact, what's called an L-shaped recovery.
Okay. And Leo, I can't leave you without talking about media, because obviously that's your area of expertise. I wanted to talk to you about your project, Journalism Online, where you're taking basically publishing websites. I believe you signed on 175 newspapers as a point of access for consumers to pay for content. How far along are you on this, and who's joined you thus far?
We actually, Betty, have signed up 600 newspapers at this point. We put out an announcement about 10 days ago. And it's simply an acknowledgement by every newspaper in the country, for the most part, big, small, and medium, that the free model just doesn't work. So there's almost no one who hasn't signed up, to be honest with you.
Are we at that point of no return for consumers, that they've got to now pay for content from now on?
Well, they pay for entertainment comfortably every night, every day. What happened is the industry let them get away with getting their information free. And so that's the issue.
Okay. Mr. Hindery, thank you so much for joining us, and hope you come back again to talk more.
Anytime, Betty.
About all of these issues. Leo Hindery of Intermedia.